morning. I'm Eric Reeser. 9 days after being traded by the Browns, Joe Flacco led the Bengals to a 33-31 win over the Steelers last night in Cincinnati. Evan McPherson nailed a 37-yard field goal with 7 seconds left to lift the Bengals to 3-4 on the season. With Joe Burrow in attendance and in a walking boot, Flacco was outstanding. 31 of 47, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. Jamar Chase caught one of those touchdowns. His 16 receptions was a career high. Before the game, NFL Network reported Burrow's recovery from that turf toe is on schedule for a mid-December return. That's if Cincinnati can remain in the hunt. The Bengals are a game and a half back of the Steelers in the AFC North. Cincinnati's going to host the Jets next Sunday at 1 o'clock. On the ice last Senate nationwide, the Avalanche buried the Blue Jackets 4-1. CBJ are going to host the Lightning Saturday night at 7 o'clock. This update is sponsored by Green & Sons, family owned and operated for over 45 years. Find your next Kubota tractor at Green & Sons, located in Mount Sterling and north of Marysville in Raymond.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lesmerises joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Barry here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only 2 guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
Oh, baby, let's do it live on a Football Friday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. 9:30, you're going to hear from Ryan Day, Luke Fickell as well. John Steppe going to join us coming up at 9:45. How exactly did Wisconsin get to this point this quickly? He'll give us some perspective coming up at 9:45. 10 o'clock, college football learned and earned. Both James Franklin and our boy Kurt Signetti cashed in this week for different reasons, but in big, big ways. We'll get into that. Coming up at 10:30, Tim joins as is customary on a Football Friday. Then 11 o'clock, you'll know the scores. And 11:30, a little chat with Doug Lesmerises. There was a time when you play the Bells and you're making a trip to Madison and you would go, okay, Better bring a hard hat. Better bring a lunch pail because you're in for one. It hasn't been that way in a while. There was a time, certainly for a great many of you, that remember that a trip over there to play that team was a slugfest. And they were legitimate contenders in the Big Ten and had a program of incredible consequence. One thing that I think we learned a little bit this week with what happened at Penn State and then the extension for Signetti, which happened yesterday to the tune of $93 million, is if you have the means, you can flip something pretty quick. But you have to have the means. And you have to have motivated means. Penn State always had the means, but it took 2 straight losses as 20-plus point favorites for them to activate those means and for those means to be motivated. I don't know what the means are at Wisconsin. My hunch is that they don't have Indiana money. My hunch is that they don't have Penn State money. I don't know from a Wisconsin standpoint how important football is. I remember talking to Joe Thomas a couple years ago about Wisconsin. I said, what's it like? And he's like, well, when you got a big game, it's full. But sometimes when you don't, it's something to do on a Saturday. It's not necessarily something that they set their clocks by. And if that is the case, then this is what Wisconsin's going to be for the foreseeable future. A program that is a distant behind the top tier in its own league. And without an East-West component for them to rely upon to get into Big Ten championship games, if I'm a betting man, this is what I think their lot in life is going to be. Maybe not as bad as it is this year, but at best, the best they can probably hope for over the next decade or so is to be some version of what Iowa has been under Kirk Ferentz. And even that might be shooting a little bit high. You have to be careful. in a lot of these jobs. And Wisconsin's one of these jobs. Iowa, whenever they decide what they're going to do after Ferentz, is going to be one of those jobs. You have to be very careful that you don't get out over your skis, that you don't think that you're something that you're not. That's important for the coach that you hire and the institution that makes the hiring. You have to be comfortable in your own skin and have your own types of successes, because when you start chasing things that are bigger than you can end up in a mess. I would not have thought in a million years it would be this bad for Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. I didn't think he should have taken the job. I didn't understand him taking the job for all of the reasons that we've talked about ad nauseum. But I did not think that it would fall this flat this quickly. And to the point now where it's hard to find a win for them the rest of the way. And they're welcoming in his alma mater on Saturday as 25.5-point underdogs at Wisconsin. That's a Rutgers situation. That's a Purdue situation. That used to be an Indiana situation. That's what Wisconsin is now, guys. And that's a hard thing to wrap your head around on a Saturday in October.
You do, in situations where you're a new coach at a new place, have to have some luck, but you've also got to make your own luck. Like Curt Cignetti got incredibly lucky with the transfers that he brought in, but he made it, and bringing a lot of those with him from James Madison. Luke didn't get as lucky with the guys in the transfer portal, but he also kind of made that bad luck by trying to change everything they were as an institution, as a football institution. They were big, beefy boys up front. You dominate the lines of scrimmage and you run the football. They wanted to go air raid. And in that state with that program historically, that's like you're speaking another language. And so I do think for Wisconsin and for a lot of these teams in the Big Ten, Curt Cignetti's kind of laid the groundwork for how to be successful now in a new era. But you've got to be smart and you've got to know your limitations, because as we've now seen with Cignetti, Indiana's got money and they've got money they're willing to spend. Wisconsin, I don't think has that. Minnesota, I don't think has that. Iowa, I don't think has that. But if they can bring in the right head coach that can do the proper portaling with, 3, 4, 5-star guys that haven't worked out at one place but can make it work out at a new place, then they can constantly chase a playoff opportunity. But yeah, with this Wisconsin thing, I keep looking and trying to find a place where the Badgers will have some modicum of success tomorrow, but it almost feels coming out of this game, and like you said, they're going to win 2 games this season, 2-10.
Jeez.
It might be best for both parties just to say, all right, that didn't work.
Bo, to your point, like I remember Wisconsin playing for Big Ten championships and Rose Bowl appearances. I remember Ron Dane and Monty Ball and Melvin Gordon and Jim Leonard and Russell Wilson and Jim Sorgi and just all these guys that
Taylor's
have played
not that long ago, Bake.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor. Like the running back lineage they have is just so impressive, and all of the offensive linemen that they've had have been so good. There was a time when Wisconsin was a full day and then some. And then you say 25.5, and you say that, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure that's enough. And
I'm with you.
I'm sitting here this morning, and at the end of the program, we're going to do 3 things to a Buckeye victory. And the things I'm putting down on my paper are the same things I'm putting week 2 against Grambling and week 3 against Ohio. And that is just unfathomable to me that Wisconsin, after the past 25, 30 years that they've had, are in this spot. And it's even crazier to me that it's this way with that man at head coach.
It's perfectly said. It defies all logic. I thought he was better than them. And turns out Luke is their Bill Callahan, what he did at Nebraska. Like when he went to Nebraska and he's like, we're gonna run West Coast offense. And they're like, well, hold on. We've been running option for 40 years, and we've won a lot, and we just played for the national title a couple of years ago, and he tried changing it. And sometimes in certain places, that is the identity. The identity are those things. I do think 14 had something to do with it. I do. I think that beat down in the Big Ten championship game, but they did rebound from that. They did rebound from that to be a certain level, and they were trying to level up with Luke. And I would have thought minimum that he would do that. You could have never have guessed. I thought that he was too good for Wisconsin. That's what I thought when he took that job. I thought he was too good of a coach.
He took Cincinnati to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it just made the most sense that he would be in a Power 4 spot or Power 5 spot not far after that. Like, he was destined for something like this.
Buddy,
Just not there.
I had a buddy of mine who's influential at Florida State who was saying, we'd love to have him. Do you think he'd take the job at Florida State? You know that there were connections at USC. You know that LSU, Oklahoma, all those jobs were open around the time of his peak. And I think because of loyalty, it's probably the one time loyalty got Luke. He stuck around and coached that team in the playoff. And had he bounced right then, he probably would be at one of those places. Might even be the head coach at Notre Dame. Who knows? Although they're not complaining. Things working out pretty good for Marcus. But yeah, this is a long way from all of those names that you mentioned, Bake. It's a long way from that. There's nothing here to be frightening. I look at 25.5 and I go, how in the heck is Wisconsin going to score a touchdown? How are they scoring a touchdown?
Turnover.
There's no world
Throw
where
it to him.
there's no world where this is good for the Big Ten, right? Like this is awful for the Big Ten that Wisconsin, a program that some people they at least knew, right? They knew that name. They expected them to be a good program and a tough program. Not being good, that hurts.
It does. Yeah, it does. Here's your schedule for tomorrow. The game, 3:30 on 10 TV. From 10 to noon, the Fan pregame show with Matty Ice, DeVere, and Dane. Then noon to 2, the Fan tailgate show with AR, Bids, and Tim. 2 o'clock, the Ohio State's network pregame show. And then 3:30, the kick on Channel 10, extended postgame show with Beam and Zwicky to follow. And then 9 to 11, Fan college game night with Bake and Thidoff. That's a fun show. That's a fun one. When you're wrapping up the night and everything's finishing all at the same time, that's fun. That's a fun show. So there you go. There's your Saturday. We'll continue to get you set as only we can for the Buckeyes and the Badgers, and a big weekend in college football. Some big matchups. Winner stays alive, loser go home matches around the country. We had a hell of a Thursday nighter last night down in Cincinnati, and now what could become a troubling start for the Columbus Blue Jackets as these points continue to not be accrued, and it could be a problem by the time we get into March. We'll get into all of that. We're off and running on a Football Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're over 50, it's likely that you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, it's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you.
Bobcat Enterprises says thank you for your support as they celebrate 50 years of serving the construction industry. Established in 1975 in Cincinnati, Bobcat Enterprises has expanded to 9 stores to meet you where you are in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. Find equipment for any construction project, including compact track loaders and excavators. Plus, Bobcat Enterprises rents compact equipment and attachments. Find current specials and locations at bobcatent.com or follow Bobcat Enterprises Inc. on Facebook. Bobcat Enterprises, 50 years working for you.
Away game this week, but that just means you can make the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus your home for Saturday football. Join the Fan for the tailgate show and then party with us with the ultimate watch party. We have football contests with amazing prizes. There's wall-to-wall screens, ticket and memorabilia giveaways, and unbeatable game day food. Can't wait to see you at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook on Saturday. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Everybody poops, everybody pees. Mommy, will you call Mr. Rooter, please? 'Cause I gotta poop and I gotta pee. Only Mr. Rooter can clear the drain for me. Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
Hi, everybody. We call it what it is at Mr. Rooter. When you have a plumbing or drain problem, the team at Mr. Rooter is ready 7 days a week. Call us today and take advantage of our $95 drain cleaning special. Visit us at MrRooter.com. We'll be there quick.
Around here, it's all or nothing. And Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else. Like the best-selling Toyota Camry. Now through November 3rd, get 4.75 APR financing on remaining new 25 Camrys. Or lease a new 26 Camry LE for $279 a month for 36 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Austin and Berm are back with a new daily podcast, the ultimate OSU football insiders. You know, it's refreshing to have some smart people working here from time to time.
The Beat with Austin and Berm on the 10 TV Plus app.
Subscribe today.
Fraud in government is a crime, and it robs taxpayer dollars. I'm Ohio Auditor of State Keith Faber, and my job is to catch people that lie, cheat, and steal. Report suspicious behavior and help stop fraud. Learn the red flags, speak up, and protect your tax dollars by calling 1-866-FRAUD-OH.
At the Ohio Lottery, we make Keno fun, your way. That means every few minutes across Ohio, 20 out of 80 possible numbers are randomly picked. And if some of the numbers you pick match, voila, you're a winner. Keno doesn't require you to know a single thing about sports ball or overs, unders, pluses, minuses, or lines, or whatever else. Keno is as simple as, did some of my numbers match? They did? Great. You just raked in some dough. There are more than 20 hours of Keno draws every day and thousands of places to play statewide. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state. The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at ONNradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Hey there, Central Ohio. I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens with your latest forecast. We warm up into the mid and upper 60s today with plenty of sunshine, though clouds increase toward the afternoon and evening. A stray shower could come down early Saturday before temperatures surge to the 80s. Showers and storms likely Sunday. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
It's Friday and there's football. I shall call it Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for all things football. The Fan. With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
League title playoff implications on the line in the Capital Florida Columbus High School football game of the week. Hamilton Township hosting Bloom Carroll tonight. Coverage starts at 6:30. The kick's at 7. After the game, it's Byers, Subaru, Dublin, overtime with Bake and Lee. Friday nights are for high school football on The Fan. Probably a lot of senior nights out there tonight. So get out and support the kids as they play one of their last ones at home. Go ahead, Bake.
Sad, only one more after tonight.
It's crazy.
Only one more after tonight.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. You know what else is crazy? If Joe Flacco has weapons, look out, baby. Give him a couple weapons and look out.
Good for him.
He's having the time of his life. He is having the time of his life. And I knew he would. I knew he'd play well. I knew that he would play well because guess what Jamar Chase and T. Higgins allow or what they're able to do?
Catch the ball.
And separate. They're able to separate. And yes, Reese, when they do separate, they catch it.
Hold on to the ball.
And what a magical thing that must be. Flacco, 31 of 47, 342, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a rating of 108.6. Jamar Chase, you think Joe, best player he's ever played with, best offensive player he's ever played with, yes. Jamar Chase, right? 23 targets for Jamar Chase. 23. He threw it 33 of his 45 times to Chase and Higgins. Jamar, 16 for 161. Higgins, 6 for 96. You think those two are happy? Think they like it?
Chase kind of left some meat on the bone.
He did.
There were a couple of drops through.
Couple of drops.
Yeah, Flacco put it on you, bud.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been even more. Chase Brown had the drop when Joe saw the blitz coming. He dropped it right over. He would have went for 30 yards on that one. There were a lot of plays out there that were left, and this is why if you're Cincinnati, we talked about this yesterday, they're going to beat the Jets next week. They're going to be 4-4. And then you get the news that Joe Burrow is mid-December Flacco can keep them afloat. This type of offensive output can keep you afloat. Now, we don't think that Pittsburgh is some sort of super team. None of us did. We all were pretty aware that some, their point differential wasn't great. Their defense wasn't what it used to be by any means. And they don't have a ton of weapons outside of DK Metcalf that make you kind of scary a little bit. Good for Freiermuth for get going a little bit for them. But Rodgers is pretty accurate, and they have a chance. And so they're going to be the team that wins the division. But that win last night for Cincinnati in a must-win spot, they got it. They absolutely got it. And if you're curious if Joe Flacco is having fun, here he'll tell you that, in fact, yes, he is.
Man, it's a lot of fun. Obviously it's a lot of fun towards the end of the game when you're getting ready to go. But, this is what we do it for is games like that. It came down to the wire just like we know it's going to. And really, really happy about how the guys just kind of stayed with it for a full 60 minutes. And, man, our offensive line was going today, We're running the football, protecting, doing a lot of things that we wanted to do.
Well, and it helps when you have 1 in 5. Here is Joe on those two.
Yeah, last week it opened my eyes. Just with the simple things. Not the fact that they went for 800 yards, obviously, but you could see it. And then today what I got to see was just how a defense has to treat those guys. And if you don't treat them a certain way, they can hurt you. And if you do treat them a certain way, well, maybe we have some other guys that can get the job done. So today I think I got to see just the problems they create in general. Last week, I said it earlier this week, last week we didn't do anything crazy, but you could see those guys are different. And it's pretty cool to be able to throw them.
Yeah, it's a tough watch as a Browns fan. If you're watching that.
I had fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like every time he had a pinpoint pass or they were killing him with inside slants, and Joe Flacco on I forget which down and distance it was, but he rolls out and he gains 13 yards with his legs. And I'm like, damn it. Like every single time. Like I was doing a lot of swearing last night watching it, but I was doing it with a smile on my face because I remember what this felt like back in 2023, where you got a month of this just magical run that made no sense in the world, but because he can see the field better than so many other quarterbacks today, and it's kind of an indictment on quarterback development that you got 41 and 40. And Aaron Rodgers was, I thought, pretty good last night, but the Steelers
really
had uncharacteristic turnovers. So the idea that Joe Flacco, whom I love, was playing a team that I am kind of rooting for to stick around a little bit before Joe Burrow can get back against a team that I have hated my entire life. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's a win.
Because I didn't think much about the Browns themselves, because to hell with them right now.
Reese, I look at that the other way with those two. It just makes me think how impressive that they are, because in the NFL, the league has gone younger so much, so fast recently. Even at the quarterback position, I think that those two are still sticking around and playing at the level they are is just an indictment on how good they are. I think we've probably underrated Joe Flacco most of his career and just kind of thought of him as just an average guy, middle of the road, game manager type dude. But, I mean, he won a Super Bowl for a reason. I know the Ravens had a great defense and a great team then, but I just think that's more of an indictment on those two. I will say this with the Browns. I don't think that was a tough loss for me as a Browns fan, because I still think it was the right move for this Browns franchise to trade Joe Flacco at this point.
100%.
But I will say all it did was solidify my feelings on this Browns team and on this Browns front office, and the fact that Joe Flacco could not do anything with this Browns team. He goes to the Bengals, and granted, Chase and Higgins are ridiculously good wide receivers. Chase might be the best in the league, and Higgins is a number one on just about every team but the team he plays on. But it's just an indictment as to how mismanaged, to me, this Browns roster has been. And also that, listen, I don't think they schemed it up for Flacco very well, quite frankly, either. And maybe that's the weapons, I don't know. But all that game did last night was solidify my feelings on the Browns.
So they took Chase, fourth overall? Cincinnati did?
I think it was
third or fourth, fifth overall. One spot ahead is Penei Sewell. I can't remember if he was third, fourth, or fifth. And then T. Higgins was top of the second round. So who is the last receiver that the Browns took in the first round? Corey Coleman? I mean, it's been a long time. since they've swung at a weapon. I mean, I think that's it. I don't know. I can't think of anybody else who was a first rounder.
Let's do this fun exercise. The 2021 NFL draft. So Jamar Chase goes 5 to the Bengals. Kyle Pitts goes 4 to the Falcons. Trey Lance goes 3 to the Niners. Zach Wilson 2 to the Jets. Trevor Lawrence 1st to the Jaguars. Penei Sewell 7th to the Lions.
So 5 and 7 are gold jackets.
Sure seems like it.
Yeah.
Barring injury.
You can't even have you can't even have the conversation. It's just, yes.
Who was 6th in that draft just because?
Jalen Waddle.
He's not terrible.
Okay. Pretty good.
Not terrible.
He's all right. Yeah. Yeah. Good Lord. Like, you imagine some of those folks with Jamar Chase? He's unbelievable. He truly is. And you're right. He did have a couple of drops in the game. Real quickly, we got to get a minute or so here on the Blue Jackets. I thought they crushed the Atkinson thing. I thought that was so emotional. It was so cool seeing him out there. This is the thing with the Blue Jackets, and I think this is why so many of us, whether it's media or fans, give them such a benefit of the doubt, because they do all the little things right. The one thing that they haven't done enough of in their history of 25 plus years now is win. But they do all the little things right, and this was another example of it. This is one of the best teams in hockey that you hosted last night, and they looked it. They looked like one of the best teams in hockey. And again, it's one of 82, but you're going to be chasing these points in March. If you think you're going to chase the 8, you're going to be chasing these points in March. And if you have the expectations that Jody did when he thought maybe they could be the 3 seed in the East, this start ain't it, man. This ain't it. So it does get late quick rather, if this continues on through the weekend and you take another L and all of a sudden you have a winless 3-game homestand to start the year. Bake, I'm sure you were locked into all of it.
Yeah, I was there last night, and the concerning thing was what seemed to be the lack of effort. And
how's that possible?
At that point, you've got to have someone, like, go blast someone, go hit someone, try to change some momentum.
How do we not have effort 4 games in?
The only player on the ice last night, and then maybe that's not fair because Marchenko did do some things, and when they had some scoring chances early, it seemed like he was driving that. But it seemed like the only guy that wanted to be there last night was Elvis. Elvis played his rear end off.
Yes, he did.
And I don't know. I don't think he saw the first goal, and the other 2 goals were tips, and then obviously the fourth one was an empty netter. But when you have players afterwards saying, yeah, maybe our effort wasn't there, we didn't play hard enough, that happens because we're humans, no, that's not okay. That's when someone's got to go out there. And it's the one thing I've said about the Blue Jackets forever. We need a Brad Marchand type player. And some people don't like that, but you know what? That guy drags people into the fight. When people are lacking, which that does happen, you don't always put your best performance out there. That person drags you into the fight. We need that and always have.
Yeah.
Can Fantilli become that?
I think he could.
You got to empower him to.
I think you got to let him just go be him.
Let him go live, man. I mean, I don't know. It's not a red flag, but certainly yellow flags are up. I'm having a pause here because game 4, that's too much for no effort or lack of effort. Against that team? Like, you're at home, you're honoring Atkinson? How are you not hair on fire skating around?
What is a red flag is Chinnikov, you get in the lineup and you want to stay. I got to notice you more, man. I know you didn't have a lot of time on ice, but you got to maximize it.
Yeah. They get the Lightning on Saturday here to close out that 3-game homie to open up the season. Buckeyes hit the road to Madison to jump around all over Wisconsin. You'll hear from Coach Day and Luke Fickell. We'll get you set coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Visit the Good Feet Store today. Walk-ins are always welcome. Visit the Good Feet Store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road at Grove City.
Hi, I'm Richard May for Toyota West. And with over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles available, Toyota West at I-270 and Georgesville Road has the car you're looking for. And right now at Toyota West, take advantage of 0 down and 0 payments until 2026. And every pre-owned vehicle comes with a 72-hour exchange policy plus a 3-month warranty for qualified vehicles. Come see us at the Germain Auto Mall on Georgesville Road or get started today at ToyotaWest.com. Offer expires 10/31. No payments for deferred payment. Interest accrues at time of inception with approved credit.
Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day. My sinks gurgle, they barely drain. The toilet overflowed. I plunge all day with no luck. What's wrong with this commode?
Clogged drain, no problem. It's 93 or free. I'll clear any drain. You don't pay with a 1-year guarantee.
It's 93 or free. Guaranteed.
Call 614-683-9911. Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day.
We've all got our daydreams, right? Little things, big things, things you know one day you'll do. Then out of nowhere, cancer. And all your plans don't change a bit. I would know. I'm about to jump out of an airplane with my dad. Our first time skydiving solo, and my second year since starting cancer treatment at Ohio Health. All right, Dad, let's go. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, here's what's up on a Football Friday edition of the program. Buckeyes and Badgers tomorrow in Madtown. This is just facts. These are the numbers. This is what's happened. Last 4 times out for Wisconsin. At Alabama, 38-14 loss. Maryland at home, 27-10 loss. At Michigan, 24-10 loss. Iowa at home on homecoming, 37-0. 37-0. You know who else knows that and sees it? Everybody in scarlet and gray. It is Ryan Day's job, and he's made it his job this week, to fight that. To fight knowing what Wisconsin is and be held to your own standard. That's the job. That's Ryan Day's job right now. Buddy, you look into November, and that's going to be his job a lot, is say don't pay any attention to records, don't pay any attention to scores, do your job. He has aced that to this point in the season. This Buckeye team has had one competitive game. The opener against then number 1 Texas. That's it. That's the list. There wasn't a single moment in any of the games that followed where anybody with a rational sense thought that there was a chance Ohio State would lose. Not a second in any one of those games, right? So fighting complacency is something that he has aced. Here's Ryan on that.
We have to fight against complacency. When you start winning games, it's easy to think, oh, that's okay or that's okay. No, it doesn't work that way. You really got to dig in and make sure that everything is being not only done the same way, but even more efficiently week in and week out.
And the big part of how he's able to do this is because Ohio State has this tradition of excellence, because they have this success, because it is coupled with the financial means to be able to keep guys who you recruit and you develop. What you have is a culture where your best players are also your leaders and your hardest workers. And that's what allows for so much of this success that the Buckeyes are having right now. Here's Coach Day on that.
When your best players and your leaders are your hardest workers, and the coaches are willing to hold those guys just as accountable as everybody. It's easy to yell at the third string cornerback or whoever, the scout team guys. But when you're pushing the guys who are the leaders and the biggest contributors and the guys performing on the field, it holds everybody accountable because they know if that guy's doing it, if he's being held accountable, I got to do my job. So all parts of the growth of the team. But we're halfway in now, and there's a lot of things that we got to get better at. But I think to your point, the leadership's been strong so far this season.
And they have to be willing to be able to be coached. They have to let coaches coach them. Like if you're Caleb Downs and you're a millionaire, and Matt Patricia or Guerreri comes up to you and starts barking at you about something, you have to be willing to take that. You have to take that criticism. You have to take that coaching. And that's something that the only way that you're going to have guys who can do that is if you recruit a character level that is elite. And they've done that here. And so that's what allows for where they're at right now. We had Paul Feinbaum on yesterday, and he echoed it. This is the best operation going by a distant margin in all of college football. And it's because of all of the factors that we're talking about here. And I don't take it for granted because it's rare. You guys watch a college football Saturday. The idea that this team through 6 games shows up every week, handles its business, most of the time covers, never really a threat to lose. It's a wild thing to play half a season that way. There's not another team in the country that's played under those auspices.
Yeah, and I talked about this at the beginning of the program where you have to, there's luck that has to come into this, but you have to make your own luck. And so for Ohio State to kind of land the coordinators and the guys on their coaching staff at the different and kind of wacky times that they've landed them, like the Matt Patricia thing kind of falls in your lap because Jim Knowles wants a raise, that Bill O'Brien left, and so Chip Kelly comes in, and then Chip Kelly's able to kind of teach Brian Hartline how to be a coordinator, and Brian Hartline spent the last couple of years building one of the best and most dynamic wide receiver rooms in the country. Like, it all builds together, but you've just taken such advantage of the luck that you've created with having those NFL guys and having those legitimate dudes who've done it at every single level that can tell those guys week in and week out, hey, this is like an NFL system. This is an NFL approach. This is now an NFL postseason. So you've got to take this week to week, much like they do in that NFL that you want to play in so badly.
And I think not only that, and we've talked about it a lot on this show, but the way Ohio State has been recruiting, right? Mm-hmm. It's not, you want the most cash? We got the most cash. Come here. It's no, do you want to be here? Do you want to be developed here? Do you want to have the best shot at the next level? If money's your biggest concern, Ohio State may not be the place for you. And I think that's how you get those leaders and that buy-in, is because these guys really want to be here and they believe this is the best place for them. Mm-hmm. And I think that just translates to this room and what you're seeing on the field.
It's a chicken before the egg thing, right? Can you do that if you don't already have the success? Probably not. In order to have the success, you have to have the best players. So in some instances, if you don't have that tradition, then you have to pay for it. So Ohio State doesn't have to deal with those problems. There's 4 or 5 schools in the country that don't have to deal with those problems. Alabama doesn't have to deal with those problems. Georgia doesn't have to deal with those problems. There are not many, though. Most everybody else is an upstart trying to bust into this group. Luke Fickell tried to bust into this group at Wisconsin. He very clearly looked at the Wisconsin job and said, I can make that a national power. I can think of no other reason why he would take it and make it a consistent national power because of what they had been historically. It has not worked. Not by a damn stretch, which sucks for Luke because everybody around here loves Luke Fickell and knows what he's all about. You look at their schedule ahead and you can't help but just feel like you got punched in the stomach if you're a Badger fan or if you're a fan of Luke Fickell. Here is Luke on what is coming ahead and how they can't dwell on it.
Obviously, we got a challenge in front of us, so it's really hard to dwell upon the things from last week. That doesn't mean we didn't address them. Doesn't mean we obviously haven't watched and gone about the corrections of the things that we have to be able to do, because we got to continue to move forward. But with what sits in front of us in particular this week, it's really hard to spend a whole lot of time dwelling upon last week. And we put that to rest, put it to bed Sunday, went out there on the field. This is a challenge, and we know what it looks like moving forward. This week is going to be an incredible challenge, but I think that's something that our guys will help them kind of put the past behind them and make sure they're focusing on the things that are in front of them, the challenges in front of them, because the challenge is really, really big, and it takes your focus away from the things that just happened. So in some ways, this is a great opportunity for us.
Well, he's selling it that way. He was asked, why do you have optimism for the week? Here's what he had to say.
There's nothing to lose. And I think that sometimes some of the things that hold us back is just, our own selves in a way that, like, look, we're trying to be perfect, and the recognition that if you're going to go out there and you're going to do anything against the number one team in the country, you can't be held back by, being perfect, because being perfect is not going to get us what we need to get. And so I think some of that, hopefully, even the things that have happened the last few weeks, at some point in time, hopefully some of the pressure comes off of recognizing, like, okay, what's holding us back and what's going to help us move forward. So I think it's twofold. It's being up for the challenge, it's understanding the challenge, but then be willing to understand, like, that this is a game of imperfection, and the only way to get better at the game is to play it faster. And when you're, in the perfect mindset, it doesn't allow you to do that. And against a team like this that you can't be perfect, it's going to, I think, give us a little bit of a, that little spark. That's what I believe.
So I was trying to think, is last time, because we didn't play them last year, right? No, they weren't on the schedule last year. So it was 2 years ago, 24-10 was the game was in Madison again. It was a 24-10 loss in that game. And at the time, Wisconsin was 5-2 going into the game. Buckeyes were ranked 3rd in the country. We're a long ways from that. We are a long ways from that. So he's got his hands full, and I don't think Ryan's going to run anything up on him, but at the same time, I don't know how he doesn't, because I don't know how Wisconsin's going to score the football, and that makes for a very long Saturday in Madison. So how did Wisconsin get here? How did they get to this point where it feels like it is a massive hole to try to dig out of? John Steppe's been there every step of the way with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He'll join us on that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Everyone deserves a great car, regardless of credit. At Capital Ford of Columbus and Whitehall, we say yes to all credit types. Explore our selection, get financed in minutes, and own the road. Stop in today or visit us online at capitalfordofcolumbus.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 1-877-CARS-4-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Matty Ice here from McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. I recently brought a brand new Chevy Trax from McDaniel GM Superstore. It was by far, guys, the best car purchase I have ever made. And right now, you can get a 2025 Trax at McDaniel GM Superstore for as low as $315 a month with zero due at signing for qualified buyers. They're going to treat you like family just like they did me. There's just a short drive north off Route 23 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Hear those leaves crunching under your feet? Feel that cool nighttime air? It's definitely fall in Ohio. Fall is the perfect time to have the Waterworks Heating and Cooling inspect and tune up your furnace before the cold winter months hit. Just $89 to inspect and protect your family against those wintertime furnace breakdowns. Call 614-232-2222 or visit thewaterworks.com today to schedule your $89 fall furnace inspection and tune-up. Winter is just days away.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing mountain dew. So give me my goodness, give me a dew.
Grab some friends and an ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew. Morning Juice is live on YouTube. Weekday mornings starting at 6. Or on demand whenever you want it. Yeah, whenever. Bobby Carpenter's at your beck and call. And Tito's there too, to clean the